Welcome back to Learning English Practical. I'm Mary, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to fall asleep, but your mind just won't stop talking? You replay an awkward moment from last week, or imagine everything that could go wrong tomorrow? Maybe your friend hasn't replied to your message, and suddenly you start thinking, did I say something wrong? Or maybe they're upset with me. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Our brains are great at turning small worries into big storms. In today's episode, we'll talk about how to stop overthinking, calm your thoughts, and find peace while improving your English at the same time. In this episode, we'll explore why our minds love to overthink and what we can actually do to stop it. You'll hear simple stories, practical tips, and easy English phrases that you can use in daily life. Together, we'll learn how to calm that noisy voice in your head, the one that keeps saying, "What if?" or "Should I have done that differently?" Overthinking is like running on a treadmill. You move a lot, but you never get anywhere. So in the next part, we'll discover how to step off that mental treadmill and give your mind some quiet space to breathe. By the end of this episode, you'll not only feel more relaxed, but also pick up useful English expressions to talk about emotions and mindfulness naturally. Imagine a young boy flying a paper plane in a wide open field. The sky is bright, the wind is soft, and the plane soars higher and higher. He laughs as it glides beautifully, but then a small gust of wind makes it tilt. Worried, he throws another one, this time overcorrecting every move. The plane twists, loses balance, and falls quickly to the ground. Frustrated, he sighs, thinking he's failed. But when he finally slows down, takes a breath, and adjusts his throw gently, the plane flies again, smooth and free. Our thoughts are just like those paper planes. When we try too hard to control every single one, we lose balance. Overthinking makes us pull the string of our thoughts too tightly until we get tangled. But when we pause, breathe, and let things flow naturally, clarity comes back. Life is full of uncertain winds, unexpected challenges, decisions, and emotions. We can't control every gust, but we can control how we respond. Learning to pause doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting yourself enough to take a step back and see clearly. Sometimes peace isn't found by doing more. It's found by letting go. Let's think about Emma, a college student preparing for her big exam. She studied for weeks, taken notes, and done every practice test she could find. But the night before the exam, her thoughts start spinning. What if I forget everything? What if the questions are too hard? What if I fail and disappoint everyone? Instead of resting, Emma stays awake, replaying those fears again and again. By the time morning comes, she's exhausted, anxious, and unable to focus. This is what overthinking does. It drains our energy before anything even happens. It convinces us that worrying is helping, when really it's only making the problem bigger. What Emma needed wasn't more studying. It was a pause, a deep breath, and trust in herself. Overthinking often feels like control, but it's really fear wearing a clever disguise. The more we try to predict every outcome, the less we live in the present moment. Just like Emma, we all face moments when our minds start spinning with what-ifs. The real strength lies not in silencing every thought, but in noticing when our mind is running too fast and choosing to slow down. As Mary reminds us, calm doesn't come from perfection. It comes from presence. And when you practice letting go, even a little, you'll see your mind, like that paper plane, starts to soar again. Now imagine Daniel, a young designer working at a busy company. After every meeting, he replays every word in his head. Did I sound stupid? Should I have said more? What if my boss didn't like my idea? Those thoughts come like waves, one after another, until Daniel feels completely drowned in self-doubt. That's the tricky thing about overthinking. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And before we know it, those whispers start controlling how we feel about ourselves. But something changes when Daniel decides to face it differently. One day, after another long meeting, he takes a walk outside instead of replaying the conversation. He tells himself, "I did my best, and that's enough for today." It's a small moment, but it's powerful. By focusing on what he can control, his effort and attitude, Daniel slowly begins to quiet the noise in his mind. Overthinking, Mary says, is like trying to stop the waves of the ocean with your hands. You can't. The waves will always come. Doubts, fears, and what ifs. The secret is not to stop them, but to learn how to surf. You acknowledge them, ride through them, and let them pass. Every time Daniel chooses calm over panic, he's training his mind to trust the process. And that's something we can all learn to do, one thought at a time. When it comes to real progress, it's not about sudden motivation or big inspiration. It's about the habits you build and repeat every single day. Success isn't one giant leap. It's the result of hundreds of small, consistent steps that move you forward almost without noticing. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Maybe listen to 5 minutes of English podcasts each morning, or write down 3 new words before bed. After about 3 weeks, your brain starts to treat these actions as natural, part of your daily rhythm. That's how true habits begin.
And here's a secret. Follow the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to start, like pressing play on a podcast or writing one short sentence in English, just do it. The hardest part is always beginning. Once you start, momentum does the rest. Reward yourself for keeping the promise, not for being perfect. Track your progress, celebrate small wins, and remind yourself that showing up matters more than speed.
Remember, building strong habits is not about trying harder. It's about designing your environment and mindset so that good choices become easy and automatic. In the next part, I'll talk about developing a consistency mindset, the inner power that keeps you going even when motivation fades. Because in the end, it's not the fastest learner who wins, but the one who never stops. Consistency is the quiet engine behind every long-term success story. It's not loud or dramatic. It's simple, steady, and reliable. When you commit to showing up even when you don't feel like it, you train your mind to move from motivation to discipline. Motivation gets you started, but consistency keeps you growing. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't see instant results after the first few days, but if you keep going, one drop, one day at a time, the roots grow deeper and stronger. That's what learning English or building any skill is like. You may not notice progress each day, but your effort is quietly shaping your future self. One way to build consistency is to make your habits part of your identity. Don't just say, "I want to learn English." Tell yourself, "I'm someone who practices English every day." When you see yourself that way, your actions naturally follow. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Missing a day isn't failure. It's a chance to return stronger tomorrow. And remember, to design your environment to support your goals. Keep your English notebook on your desk, set reminders, or listen to Learning English Practical while cooking or walking. The more your environment helps you, the less willpower you need. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. It transforms learning from a task into a lifestyle. Stay patient, stay curious, and trust the process, because every small action you repeat today is building the fluent, confident version of you tomorrow. Sometimes, building strong habits isn't just about adding more, it's about letting go. We often hold on to guilt for not being perfect, or frustration when progress feels slow. But true growth begins when you release that pressure. You don't need to be flawless. You only need to be present and consistent. Letting go means accepting that not every day will be productive. Some days you'll study hard, other days you'll rest, and that's okay. Learning English, or any skill, is a journey, not a race. When you treat yourself kindly, your mind becomes lighter, and your motivation becomes natural instead of forced. Try this simple practice. Before you start your English session, take one deep breath and say to yourself, "I'm learning at my own pace." This reminds you that progress is personal. Everyone moves differently, and that's what makes your journey unique. Balance comes when you stop chasing perfection and start enjoying the process. The goal is not to control every moment, but to stay connected with your purpose. When you let go of pressure, you make room for gratitude, and gratitude changes everything. As you continue building your English habits, remember that balance is what keeps them alive. If you push too hard, you'll burn out. If you do too little, you'll lose momentum. The secret is to find a rhythm that fits your life, a space between effort and ease. Think of learning like breathing. You inhale new knowledge and you exhale reflection and rest. Both are necessary. You can study vocabulary one day, then listen to a short podcast or watch a movie the next. That variety keeps your mind fresh and your motivation strong. Another important thing is self-compassion. You are not just learning a language, you are growing as a person. Every mistake, every small success adds up to something bigger. When you treat your efforts with respect, you build habits that last. So as you move forward, ask yourself, what kind of learner do I want to be? Choose curiosity over comparison, patience over pressure. Balance doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means staying connected to why you started. That's how you turn learning into a lifestyle, not just a goal. Before we wrap up this challenge, let's review some key vocabulary from our previous sessions. These are words and phrases that can truly strengthen your English foundation if you understand and use them naturally in daily life. Consistency means doing something regularly without giving up. Example, your English will improve if you study with consistency. Routine, the set of actions you do every day. Example, creating a morning routine helps me start the day productively. Motivation, the reason why you do something or want to achieve a goal. Example, listening to English podcasts gives me motivation to learn. Reflection, the process of thinking deeply about what you've learned or experienced. Example, take a moment of reflection after each study session. Balance, the state of giving equal attention to work, rest, and personal growth. Example: learning a language requires balance between effort and rest. Discipline: the ability to control your behavior and keep working even when you don't feel like it. Example: you need discipline to practice English every single day. Progress is the gradual improvement or movement toward a goal. Example: even small progress is still a step forward. Focus: the act of giving full attention to one thing at a time. Example: it's easier to learn when you focus on one topic per session. Mindset: the way you think and approach challenges. Example: a positive mindset turns mistakes into learning opportunities. Commitment: a strong promise or dedication to keep doing something. Example: true commitment means showing up, even when it's hard. These 10 words together form the language of lasting habits. They describe not just what we do, but who we become through practice. Keep these words close, write them, say them aloud, and use them in your own stories. The more you use them, the more they become part of your English and your identity as a learner who never gives up. As we reach the end of this episode, I want to remind you, real growth comes from small, consistent actions. Every time you listen, shadow, and speak, you're building stronger habits that move you closer to fluency. Remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up and practicing every single day. Your English journey continues right here with us, so don't stop now. Check out the other episodes and videos on learning English practical. You'll find daily lessons, real conversations, and inspiring challenges to keep your motivation alive. If today's episode helped you, please follow, like, and share it with your friends who are learning English too. Subscribe to Learning English Practical so you never miss a new episode. Together, we'll keep learning, growing, and making English a natural part of your life, one habit at a time.